Welcome to the 121% podcast, Unleash Your Competitive Edge in Real Estate, where we dive deep into the world of real estate to empower and inspire you. I'm your host, Kevin Johnson, and today's episode is truly special. Ladies and gentlemen, this is our century, a conversation with CEO Mike Miedler. Today, we're honored to have an industry titan, a visionary leader who has redefined the landscape of global real estate. Mike Miedler, the president and CEO of Century 21, is not just a name. He is a force of nature in the real estate world. With a career spanning over a remarkable 25 years at Century 21, Mike's journey from the dynamic world of commercial real estate at Encore International to the pinnacle of residential real estate excellence here at Century 21 is nothing short of legendary. Under his bold and transformative leadership, Century 21 has soared to new heights, achieving extraordinary growth, both nationally and internationally. Mike, a leader known for his strategic vision, has been instrumental in rebranding Century 21, steering it into a new era with a mission to defy mediocrity and deliver extraordinary experiences. This commitment has not just won the brand accolades, but the hearts of tens of thousands of real estate professionals and consumers around the globe. As we sit down with Mike today, we're not just talking to a CEO. We're going to dive into the mind of a man who believes in the power of emotional connections, who champions innovation, and who lives and breathes the ethos of delivering extraordinary experiences. So buckle up as we embark on a journey of inspiration, insights, and the inside story of how Mike Miedler is shaping the future of Century 21 and the entire real estate industry.
Yeah, Kev, first of all, I appreciate the opportunity to be with you. You are one of some of the great leaders that we have in the system. And I think, what's tied me to Century 21 for so long, and I think you've heard me say this before, is the people, right? I mean, some of the extraordinary things that our professionals are doing in every nook and cranny around the globe every single day, not just for the real estate industry, but for their communities at large. I mean, I shouted you and some of the great things that you've done when your marketplace, when the state of Florida, you brought together so many great people to be there for part of Florida that was in big need after a hurricane, and I think it's those types of things that have kept me so endeared and so linked to this great brand. I've learned as you have through meeting folks from all over the country, all over the globe, truly how much they believe not just in this brand but in their duty as real estate professionals and folks representing this brand to uphold, the highest ethics, the highest standards, and really just deliver on our mission, which is like putting that consumer first and bringing through the real estate transaction. It's funny you said the LinkedIn thing because it sounds like the intro you gave me was something that I would write on my LinkedIn. I'm sure it's something the marketing team handed over to you.
I did my research.
I appreciate it, my friend, but it's one of those things that I think there is not a lot of loyalty in this business. And to your point, I read a lot of articles about business in general where folks are moving and looking for more or looking for different experiences. I've been super fortunate to have a whole lot of experiences and to learn a whole lot about not just real estate but business through holding a lot of different positions inside of the organization. So it's been a fun ride. Century 21 has offered me not just great professional experiences, not just great life experiences, the ability to travel, but most importantly to me, the opportunity to meet so many amazing people, so many great people who, when I come to town or visit them or in their market in front of the professionals who, would literally take their shirt off their back, let me sleep at their house, put me up for the night. I mean, it's an incredible network, and that's what's kept me so, I think, linked to this role is the Century 21 family.
You know, when you think about 25 years ago, you joined the brand, a part of the team, and you worked your way up to now being its CEO. Like, right? That's a Disney fairy tale story, right? Of growth. Could you share some of your pivotal moments or decisions that have helped shape your path to becoming the leader of one of the world's largest real estate franchises?
Yeah, I mean, I think part of it goes back to what I said a little bit earlier. Part of it is loyalty. I mean, I've had a couple of options many times to move careers and do some other things. I remember long ago I was thinking about making a move. I was working with Mike Ferry, who's an icon in this industry, and I thought my skills could broaden if I worked, with MFO and did something inside of Mike's organization. And Mike has been a mentor of mine, a coach of mine, for many years. I was actually going to make a move to Mike's organization, and for whatever reason, at the last minute, we decided probably didn't make sense, and I stuck with Century 21. And a few months later, even I wound up in this role. And so, I think loyalty has a lot to do with that, Kev. I mean, and it is interesting because in our business, a lot of folks come and go so frequently inside of our brokerages, inside of the industry. It is very transient that way, and I think our most successful real estate brokers, our most successful agents, they're the ones who are foundationally, I think, loyal to not just a brand or a company, but loyal to a vision and a mission and a goal that they have for themselves and for their agents. And I think having that like consistency and that loyalty has been a cool thing. There's many opportunities, or many, I would say, I wouldn't even call them opportunities. I kind of was just almost, thrown into the deep end of the pool, right? And pushed outside of my comfort zone to do things that were new, from other mentors. Rick Davidson, who maybe you remember as
Oh
one of
yeah.
the former CEOs, threw me into a couple different roles that, I was outside of my comfort zone in, and, had to learn how to swim out on, like I said, the deep end of the pool in a really fast manner. But I think it's those kind of things, like as professionals and as people, that you don't want to run away from. You don't want to like be afraid of. Sometimes when you're getting pushed into a direction that is not your strong suit, or you have not done before, or that feels uncomfortable. That's really where you grow the most, and you learn the most, and you get experiences that round you out as a person the most. And so I'd say to folks, no matter what kind of industry you're in, or no matter what kind of role you're in, especially now as we're like looking into the new year, and we have a fresh start upon us. Try to think about something that's gonna, maybe push you outside of your comfort zone, whether that's from a personal perspective. Maybe it's a health challenge, or a mental challenge, or a professional challenge. Like, do your best experiences, the best stories you have in life, and Kevin, I bet you would say the same thing, are when you were doing something new that was way outside of what you've ever done before. And
Yep.
so I'd say for everybody, take a look at that, and maybe give themselves that opportunity to do something like that this year.
Yeah, my biggest learning opportunities are those outside your comfort zone, and also when you fail, right? When we all fail, and when you fail, that's when you learn those lessons the best. And I wouldn't take back any of my failures. I wouldn't be where I am today without them. So,
I think you hear those types of stories and examples time and time again, right? Like even Steve Jobs, or some of the greatest leaders of all time, some of the greatest entrepreneurs, business people of all time. You hear about all the successes. Those are the ones that are heralded, but you look back and on their careers, they talk mostly about the failures. There's that famous Michael Jordan quote, right? It's like, hey, look, I've won, 5 MVPs, and 10 championships, and all this stuff, but nobody ever talks about the thousands of shots that I missed, the hundred of game-winning opportunities that didn't go in the basket, right? And it's so true of life, and I love the point that you made there.
there's a great story if you ever get a chance about Walt Disney and Oswald the Lucky Rabbit. And he created this character, sold the license of the distribution rights. So he thought to Universal. It turns out he sold the entire rights to Oswald to Universal. They decided they didn't need him anymore, stole most of his animators. He's on the train back to California. They're done. They have nothing. Everything is in Oswald, and between him and his number one most trusted guy that stuck with him, didn't go to Universal despite the money, was Iwerks, and they together created this character who had a resemblance to, uncanny resemblance to Oswald, called Mickey, though he wanted to call him Mortimer. Lillian Disney, the legend goes, said that's not a cute enough name, so she came up with the name Mickey. And so today,
Well,
you think about that.
So obviously very apropos with you knowing all that, being where you are situated there in Orlando. And I don't know if you remember this. I used a couple of Disney's failures as examples in one of my leadership scripts, and it's so true. Like, people don't recognize, and that's one of many, right? That was like one where it's the start of his career. You figured it would like basically be catastrophic and knock the guy out of business, knock him, like push him to a different industry. And there were many more. I mean, people don't realize what Disney, dealt with from a mental standpoint, and that some of those challenges that he had. And it is so true, man. We always like to put on Instagram and put on Facebook and put out there on social media all the big victories, but what people don't see is all the failures and all the hard work and all those little activities that kind of pile up to the successes that we do see out in the mainstream. So I love that point.
Yeah. So I used to work for Hilton, and one of our brands, the Hampton brand, had a leader named Phil Cordell, who was like a rock star. You go to conferences, there were lines of people to take photos with Phil. When I would teach GM leader class, he walked into the area, the lobby of the building we were doing an activity in. And they were like, can we ask? Is it okay if we approach Phil and ask Phil? I'm like, he's a guy. Yeah, go. He's fine. You're the only other leader that I have ever seen that has that same star power at conferences. Everybody's like, have you seen Mike? Where's Mike? Everybody wants a picture with Mike, and cracking me. They gave you a handler at 121 this last year to make sure you got where you needed to be on time, right? Because you walking through a corridor, it's going to take you an hour to go 5 feet. So what are some of the core leadership principles that, and in your leadership philosophy that's, got you to this point? Because there are many leaders that are successful, but also don't have that people power. I mean, you mentioned Steve Jobs, within Apple, and people didn't like him that much. He was a very gruff and grumpy kind of guy, visionary man, but you've got both. You've got the visionary leadership, but also the charismatic approach as well with the people.
Yeah, no, look, I appreciate you saying that. You've met my wife and you've seen her come to the conferences, and she kind of laughs at the fact that folks want to sit there and take a picture with me when my four daughters, I can't, they won't even talk to me. Like I gotta like scramble for their time. But the truth of the matter is, and I don't like let this slip my mind. It's not Mike Miedler. It's the power of the accountability and the importance of the role that I'm in. It is the fact that I have the title of like I don't take this for granted at all. Is like the power of being the CEO and the president and the person leading the greatest real estate brand in the world, 150,000 sales professionals worldwide, 52 years in the business, the history, the legacy, what we do on the front lines every day. It is the power of that title and that position. And I think I don't forget that for a second, because it's not Mike Miedler. It's this man role, people who make it up, on why folks feel like it's important to get a picture with me or fun, and I love it. I mean, I do. It is the easiest, best, most thrilling part of my job. Like you, I'm a people person, and it brings me excitement and energy. I think from a leadership perspective, and I don't know if this is something that I learned by watching other great leaders or just kind of adopted it over time. But I always tell my team, like, from a leadership perspective, there's probably four things that most people want from a leader, right? And I think number one starts with, the most important thing, which is honesty. They want somebody who's honest and ethical and, going to do the right thing, and that they can, believe in what they're telling them and take it to the bank. And I think, we all have to be honest with our Ryan Schneider, who's the CEO of Anywhere, says this all the time to the leaders in our organization. Feedback is a gift. And so it's not just honesty of like telling people what you're going to do and doing it, but it's also honesty in giving people feedback on how they can improve, what they need to do in order to move forward towards the goals that they have. And I think, that honesty is super important for all of us as leaders. And it's one of the things that, I strongly believe in. And I hope that, every one of my leaders on my team, take it as seriously as I do. I think they do. The second thing that people want is confidence, right? And, I learned this really during the COVID years when all of us were so super scared in those first couple months of 2020 and didn't know what was going to happen, where the market was headed, what, was going to happen in the world or to our health or all those things. And, you know, by sheer luck, we just started getting on the phones with one another, talking through like what was happening in the market, all the positive signs, how we could be helpful. Yes, in some places business wasn't getting done, but we were talking about like how we were stepping up and helping or trying to aid our communities. But then the floodgates did open up, right? And so I think it's that bringing people confidence because in the world we're in, what gets the headlines is all the negative news, right? I'm somebody who I don't watch a lot of television, I don't watch a lot of news channels. I try to stay relevant and up to speed with what needs to be kind of in my mind and understanding so that we know where the markets are headed. But I'm not the one who's going to be watching the 11 o'clock news before I go to bed to see all the negative stories. And I think people and the folks that you're leading, they need confidence, and you need to show them how to be confident. And I think a lot of that confidence comes with education and scripting people the right way. And as having a strong positive mindset. So confidence is the second thing. I think focus is a big thing. One of the things that I think we all do as human beings is we can get so distracted in this day and age with so many different things. We try to manage our business by the 4 disciplines of execution, and I think that has helped us really hone in on what's important in trying to grow and trying to bring more relevancy to the Century 21 brand, to our agents and to the industry. And I think, that focus is ultimately important for any leader to bring to their team so that, you're not just kind of like out there running around in space. One of the board members at Anywhere said to us during one of our masterminds, your to don't list should be a lot longer than your to list. And I feel like, we're all looking for the silver bullet. We're all trying to, do as much as we can to capture as much business as we can. But when you have focus towards what you're trying to accomplish, I think that really helps people get to where they need to get and be really successful in doing it. And then I think the last part, Kev, is, and we all do this in one form or another, is inspiring our people, right? We talk about this all the time, but as leaders, we've got to provide inspiration. I think, all of our people, whether you're a real estate agent or in the corporate world, they have a choice to be somewhere else. They are with us because, in some way or form, we're inspiring them to achieve their goals. And those goals are generally more personal in nature than they are from a business perspective. And so, like for us as leaders, I think you really have to understand your people, understand what they're trying to accomplish in life, understand what drives them, why they're fighting either every day so hard for your organization or for themselves, and be that inspiration and keep reminding them of why they're there, why they're fighting that fight. So to me, the 4 principles I always talk about, it's honesty, confidence, focus, and inspiration. And I think if you do those 4 things, you're probably in a pretty good spot from a leadership perspective.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. Every week we have like just to help our agents even just combat the headlines, especially in the financial markets. We have our mortgage mastermind every Thursday morning. We bring in our lender or anybody else we need to, but we talk about what's behind the headlines. We talk about the Fed rate. We educate on that, what it means. We look at the numbers coming out for, new housing starts, unemployment numbers. So we dive through all of that, and then we give the agents the talk tracks to make sure that they can properly educate in a confident way, right? Consumers and combat the negative headlines. The news media care about you clicking on that headline or looking at that story, so they're going to sensationalize the headline. 9 times out of 10, the story behind the headline is much different, and it's giving everyone that confidence.
And I love that, Kev, because I think your point is a great one. It's confidence is brought when people are educated and when they're I don't want to say scripted. I mean, I think scripting helps because it just makes them more confident. But I mean, when people are educated and know the facts and know the numbers and can tell the real story versus the headlines, I think it helps consumers understand really where we're at, and it gives our professionals that confidence and that ability to go in and talk factually versus what people are seeing or feeling or thinking or hearing, or the reel that they just watched on Instagram. So I love that. I think that is ultimately, as leaders and as certainly real estate brokers and entrepreneurs, constantly educating our professionals, because market is always moving. I mean, the market is cyclical. It's never standing still. It's always moving. And the more that we can bring them education, the more confident they'll be. So
Yeah.
keep up that great work.
We talk about like our industry and confidence. Under your leadership, Century 21 has seen some incredible growth. One of my favorite things I love to talk about is 24 years now, most recognized name in real estate. I'm sure 25 is about to hit the news soon. But also, like 2 years ago, #1 fastest growing franchise, Entrepreneur Magazine, #2 last year. And we're not just talking real estate franchises. We got beat by KFC last year. I mean, okay, but faster than McDonald's and Hilton. That's just incredible, especially for a company, we're 53 years young. So to see a company that has that tenure and still growing and still relevant and still engaging with consumers and agents, what type of strategies have been central for you and your leadership team to not only achieving this growth and innovation, but continuing to innovate, continuing to make sure that, yeah, we got this award. We're not just happy with having had it. We're going to keep going after the recognition and keep going after the growth.
So it's interesting you say that, and I think that comes to me with focus, right? I mean, for the last few years, we've had a charge at the corporate office of we want to do two things, which is what our brokers and our entrepreneurs are doing every single day. We want to recruit and we want to retain. And for us, that means recruiting new franchises, bringing new companies, new great entrepreneurs into underserved markets that are going to help, live the mission and the vision of the Century 21 brand and serve more consumers there. On the retention side, we want to keep our great companies part of the system, and we want to focus on making sure that we're helping them grow, and that when they're up for renewal, that they're renewing with Century 21 because they see the value for their agents, and we're helping their businesses grow. We've been very intentional about doing that and very focused on doing that, and we've had amazing results. And I think that's added to the growth, because what I say to my team is, look, guys, like we're an arm's length away from actually being able to touch the consumer at the end of the day. We've got to bring our folks, our agents, all of the great marketing, the tools, the technology, and the ability to be able to serve those consumers in a great way. But at the end of the day, it's up to them to execute in their market. Where we can control growth, and what our system is looking for us to do is grow, is in these two categories. And so we focus there really, really hard and have done a great job and have had some of the results that you talked about. We've also done that globally, right, with all of our partners around the globe, and really tried to bring that discipline, that execution, that importance of growth to them, because we get our money in our mouth. I'm going to ask Kevin to grow in the Orlando marketplace. Well, we got to show that we're growing from a corporate perspective. We've now, and it's going to sound almost counterintuitive, but we've honed that focus to almost a bit. And one of the or two of the big places that we are really focusing on this year is one, we're focused on recruiting and bringing great real estate professionals to the Century 21 brand to show them the path to doing more business, to making more money, to being able to navigate this ever-changing real estate market that you and I talked about a little bit in the pre-show that we all know is coming, right? Real estate is going to get reimagined, and we are leading that from a Century 21 and Anywhere perspective. And we believe that agents, the right time for them to be with the Century 21 brand is now, so that they can increase their market share and increase the money that they're making as real professionals. And so we're going very heavy on a big recruiting campaign for all of our brokers and owners. And, we're going to be rolling that out as 2024 unfolds. The other big area that we're looking at is our productivity. We want all of our agents to be able to do more business than they did last year, to be able to do more business than where they were last year. And we're really working with Wendy Crane and our university team to, like you said earlier, bring people the relevant education that is going to help them where they are in their careers to be able to do more business. And on top of that, it's not just that education, but also the inspiration. So, we've got a lot of different tools and systems and technologies, and we got some cool stuff that I think we're going to roll out at 121 from a tech standpoint and marketing standpoint that I think will get people excited and fired up. But we're really trying to figure out our recruit more agents because we know they're great leaders in order to help those agents do more business. And then once they have those agents, how to make them more productive. And so those are going to be two of our big goals that we're tackling. That is a little bit of an arm's length away from where we sit from a corporate perspective, but we have so many great brokers that we know can take hold of those systems and execute on them. And so we're excited by it for 2024.
That's been our focus at Edge this year is not just the recruiting aspect. We've had our best recruiting year ever. We crossed the 60 agent mark yesterday. So we're at 61 agents now recruited this year. But it's also the retention of the agents and then, focusing on closing the back door and make sure we're providing those tools, that we're listening to feedback. We're going to make mistakes. I tell every agent we're not perfect. I'm never going to make every agent happy, but I'm going to never stop striving to make every agent happy. And, and that'll be a perpetual, mission I have to work on for the rest of my professional career. But we've drastically reduced our decruiting by 60% year over year. But also we are doing some great things with agents and getting them into production faster. We're really refining the accountability sessions that we have for our new agent mentor program called 21 Jumpstart, trying to get those numbers up. And now we've got it for those agents that are in the program and following the training, their average days to first contract is 24 days. I mean, you just can't beat that. And that's when they get that first contract, they get confident, then they're off to the races. And we have more agents in production this year than any other time.
Think about that. In this marketplace, 24 days to production. I mean, it's pretty incredible. And I think, you texted me some of those stats, I think, a couple months ago. And as I sit here and think about them now that we're having this conversation, right? I mean, it's the two most important things you can do, right? Number one is business, because great agents to be with other great agents. And so the more great agents that have the like mindset under your roof, the more that it'll attract. On the opposite end, you're right. Like, no one company is going to be perfect for every person. And this is such, as I said, a fluid industry that people are going to come and go. But you're never going to stop trying to prove to agents that they're better off with you and are going to be able to do more business and have a better life with Century 21 Edge than they will somewhere else. And maybe they decide that that's not the case or whatever it may be. But when you focus on those two things, I think net, it's going to prove out to be a successful strategy.
I think it's also as leaders, when you do have agents that leave, it's to be humble and to truly understand, why did they leave? Were there things you could have done better as a broker? I believe in the Sam Walton mindset. I always have in my hospitality days in here. The agent can fire us at any point by moving their license to another brokerage. So we have to work hard every day to earn their business and to earn their loyalty. And that's something you have to do every day with every agent, not just when it's convenient with each agent. And that's something I've believed in, but this year I've really just doubled down on it with our agents. And I'm hoping that's why our decruiting numbers are much better this year. And then we have had more agent referrals of other agents, from our own agents this year than any other year. So
Coming
it's
in.
something's working, and we'll
Yeah,
keep pushing it.
absolutely. And I'll be honest with you, Gav. I think the fact, to your point, you the fact that you're focusing on those two areas, like the rest of the stuff, the numbers follow.
Mm-hmm.
It's working because you're focusing, right? And I love the intentionality around it. It reminds me, like, folks. I don't think people, as you hear about these lawsuits and people who love to come and attack our industry, realize how difficult this industry is. And you made a couple points as to why a little bit earlier, but it just, again, I have the utmost respect for our brokers and entrepreneurs who every day are trying to prove their value,
Mm-hmm.
to every single person who's part of their team.
Yeah. I'd be remiss if I didn't ask you this. I was a Century 21 agent with Ed Rue, a Century 21 Rue Realty. I decided to go out on my own. Y'all wouldn't sell me a franchise right away because I was an agent with Century 21. So got on my own. 18 months later, I'll never forget sitting and watching all the news breaking across the trade publications about this rebranding Century 21 was doing. I'm here in Orlando. The conference was literally like 3 miles from my office, and I'm watching, like, just with FOMO. I mean, I was missing out, and I was not liking it. Ironically, a couple weeks later, Rick Ellis walks in, and the journey began. So I was a big believer, and the rebranding is one of the reasons why I wanted to be a part of this brand, because it was so forward. Every aspect of it, the design elements, the colors, the typography. To me, it was a home run. And of course, it got lots of accolades in the industry. Inman's Marketing Innovator of the Year, and large percentage of the agents loved it. But we did have a very small but vocal group that they were resistant when we moved to cheese, and they weren't happy about it. And I'll never forget with Nick at a FLA 21 conference. He goes, "You either love me and you think, or you think I'm Satan. One of the two. There's no in between on that one." And I cracked up, and that was the room, right? So 5 years on from this rebranding, what are your thoughts? How has that enabled Century 21 to continue to grow, to see and get the awards that we've gotten? And I personally think it has to be a large part of it.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're dead on. I think early on it was like, you know, uh, the Democrats and the Republicans, however you want to say it, the Yankees and the Red Sox, however you want to put it. Like, you either loved it or you hated it. And I think, look, even to this day, there's people who, I'll go to office spaces, and whether it's for cost or, that they still have the old logo up. And when you look at the old logo now, you realize how old it looks,
Mm-hmm.
to be quite honest with you. But look, I mean, there's a lot of heritage and history in that logo. There's a lot of, as you put earlier, 24 years of, number one consumer awareness in that logo, right? And I think that's what people didn't love. People don't love change. None of us love change. And with change, none of us want to be surprised about that change, right? They want to hear it and see it and feel it over years at a time. It's absolutely needed. In fact, I think, to your point, when you joined, and why a lot of new people come into the system, is because they realize that the Century 21 brand is evolving to the next phase, to what the next consumer wants. Whether it was past leaders, who won a lot of accolades for putting that brand out, and that new logo out. I think everyone would tell you, if you look at what and where the new consumer is, they're online. They're right here. This is where they're searching, and they're getting all their information. And our new brand plays really well online, and it fits and looks slick, and has to be the way it is, because of where consumers are coming from. Yes, they're going to pull up to your office, and they're going to come to your office at some point. Yes, they remember what the house sign used to look like in the Gold Post. But net net, the new consumer, the millennials, Gen Zers, and all that will follow are right on their mobile phones. And that's where we had to make this brand really show out. And it has, and for all the creative reasons, like you said. What people don't realize is at that same time, and this was like an 18-month planning session with our team, with many brokers from around the country. At the same time we launched this new look and feel, we also launched that mission of defying mediocrity and delivering extraordinary experiences. And it's something that I think we all, as Century 21 professionals, can agree on that. Like, our job is to deliver that extraordinary experience. And it was really the physical or artistic view, the logo of adopting that mindset and that new vision. And I think that's ultimately what's been really, really successful for us. And I think now that we are 5 years past it, I don't know that anybody who does not love the new logo, the new look, the new feel. Change is difficult, but when you give it some time, I think people really start to take hold of it and actually do some cool, fun, exciting things with it.
Yeah.
And I mean, think about your office. Like, your office is amazingly gorgeous, and you take a look at some of the way that the brand shows up and the logos and some of our house habits and all those things that go into it. I mean, it's pretty incredible. And I mean, there's some amazing looking offices out there who've really done some cool stuff with our new look and our feel. But I don't want people to forget that new look and feel was launched with that. We are a brand that stands for delivering an extraordinary experience to our customer. And I think to us, that's the most important part of it.
Yeah. When I was a hotel leader, I would, my skill set was going into hotels that were failing, whether it be financially or, plant, the physical plant issues. And, the first meeting I always had with the staff, I mean, it was like, what do we sell? What's the product? And they would service, experience, all these like nice marketing words like, man, y'all watch the videos. That's good. No, we rent used beds. We are renting a bed that someone slept in the night before. Fact, right? So yeah, it's the experience that we provide our guest that is going to make that product shine. And it's going to make them remember us. And the next time they're in the area, they want to come back and stay with us. The same thing in real estate. What's the thing we're selling as a service? We're trying to help them buy or sell a home. And if you rank that on the number on the list of most stressful times of your life, it's up there. And then we add a move part of that, which is also on that list, right? So that's the thing, right? So it's the experience and how we package and how we serve it that it makes the difference between us and our competitors. And so many people in this industry, they're so transactional. It's give me my commission check, deuces, I'm out, I'm gone. They never hear from them again. And that's just not how we do it at Century 21. And that's what I love about our brand. In our awards cabinet back there, we have
I was just going to say.
Yeah, we've been quality service since we've been with the brand every year at 99 or 98%. And we're on track for our 4th pinnacle this year. So that is, I'm not the one meeting the customers, the buyers, or the sellers. Just as a general manager of a hotel, I never met all my guests, but every guest met a member of my team. Same thing with our brokerage. Our customers will meet a member of our roster, our agents, but the chance of them actually meeting me are slim, right? So it's what can we do to empower our agents to have the tools and resources to deliver those extraordinary experiences and help them and empower them to do it. And our brand does it better than any other brand. Because when I'll be very blunt, when Rick called us, I'm like, wait a second, well, if Century 21 wants us, maybe others will. And I talked to others. And everyone was like, yeah, but they're not Century 21. Yeah, but they're not Century 21. I wouldn't have it any other way. And I'm not just saying this because you're here. I've said that to everyone. Every marriage, there's no 100% happy marriage all the time. Couples disagree, and there's, but like 98 to 99% of the time, I love my brand and I love what we do. And you can't ask for something better than that.
Well, I appreciate you saying that. As you were starting to talk, I was noticing the little peaks on the quality service awards back there in the cabinet. And I think you make such a great point, right? At the end of the day, it truly is about that emotional connection that we can make with our consumers. And I know this, it's like the agents that have longevity and success in this business are the ones, to your point, who aren't transactionally based. They put the customer first and then the money follows itself somewhere down the road. In fact, agents who basically follow our quality service program, who win the award like you guys have, and Pinnacle's even that next level up, who are intentional about the service and really care about measuring it after the fact, do 60% more business than everybody else in our system. So going back to our whole discussion, this rounds it out well. It's like, if you focus on the quality service component of it, that production, the money, the dollars, the success, all that stuff will come into line somewhere down the road. And I'm so proud of you guys for continuing to put that first, because it's the most important thing.
Thank you. It's fun. That's why we do this, right? That I want to deliver an extraordinary experience for my agents, so that they can focus on delivering an extraordinary experience for their consumers. So, as we come towards the end, the 121% podcast is named after your infamous not infamous, but your famous 121% rule: 50% motivation, 50% education. But the difference between ordinary and extraordinary is the extra 21%. I just have to know, I've never heard you say this. So how did you come up with it? I mean, it's just perfect. Like it's the best. And what's the story behind its creation?
Yeah, I mean, I think honestly, it's boiled down to one of the things that I get to do in my seat, Kevin, is I get to view a lot of great professionals, whether they're leaders like you, brokers who are serving a lot of agents, or some amazingly just consistent and great agents. I mean, and when I say great agents, I mean like folks who are not just doing very high levels of production for a very consistent amount of time. And I'm not talking about serving like big trophy homes or things of that nature. I'm talking about people who have done consistent amount of business for many, many years, hundreds of transactions a year sometimes, just at levels that like most in this business all aspire to. On top of that, what's even more impressive is, like you said, the quality service that they put into it. And my favorite award is the President's Award, which combines production and the Quality Service Pinnacle Award. And that's how I really know the great folks. But then I even look a step further, is like what these people are doing in and for their communities. And it's just, it really is incredible. And they're so involved. And I think they realize that, yes, it's good for business, but they really are putting their community first. And then the stuff and the business and the referrals and all that stuff falls into place. And so, like, being able to see so many great people and great professionals has allowed me to basically distill down that rule. And I think if you look at the very best in our business, or quite candidly in any business, it's those three things. It's number one, it's they have a super strong mindset. Every single, they are positive about just their life, their personal lives, their business lives. They show a great amount of gratitude towards people, and they're just fun to be around, right? Like, how many people are attracted or like to be around negative people? Nobody. Right? Like, people like to commiserate if they're in the same thing about, gosh, this is difficult, but net, people want to be around people who project positivity, project energy, project enthusiasm. And I see that in so many great professionals in our system, and so many great just leaders across any industry or sports or what have you. And so again, it's mindset is number one, as you put it. Number two is continuing to elevate yourself, right? It's our business is not rocket science. There's nothing you cannot teach yourself about the real estate business, but you have to have thirst for education. You have to be showing up at your Tuesday meetings and listening to the mortgage expert talk about where the market is really headed. You've always got to be out there trying to improve yourself and make yourself better. And you could do that through formal learning. You could do that through reading books. You could do that in many different ways. But as professionals, we always have to be making sure that we're educating ourselves so that we feel more confident, as we talked about earlier. And then, you and I know this, like, there's no silver bullet in anything. And I think at the end of the day, you know, people who have success in life, no matter if they're athletes or you know, they're real estate professionals or whatever line of business, they show up every single day and they do the hard work and put in the activities that they know are going to ladder up to their success. So you just talked about it. Look, like, you know, your job, honestly, as a real estate broker, is to go out and make your folks successful. But you're running a business. You're there to you know, to make a profit and earn a living for yourself. But you know, in the back of your mind, that the way you're going to do that is, as you said earlier, you're going to attract great real estate professionals who live and breathe the culture of Century 21, the edge. You're going to bring in great real estate professionals who can deliver that extraordinary experience. And at the end of the day, you're going to every single day work to show them the value that you provide and that you are there to earn their business. And those two things, those two focuses, those activities that you do every day will ladder up to some of those results you're looking for, right? To run a better company, to have more market share, to eventually make a profit, right? And that's, you know, that's, I think, net what we all have to do as business people is work on those activities that are going to ladder up to the goals that we have. And so, again, it's mindset, it's consistently learning and improving ourselves, and it's going out there and making it happen.
I couldn't agree more. So I know we're coming to the end. Last question I have for you, and it's something I love to ask any great leader. You know, you've climbed the ranks to lead this amazing brand. You know, what advice would you offer to those who are aspiring leadership roles in the industry? You know, particularly within the Century 21 system. How can they set themselves up for success to achieve the levels you have?
Yeah, I'd say never say no to a challenge. Be super inquisitive about, you know, every situation you're put into, right? I mean, you're not always going to have all the answers. Watch other great leaders, you know, come back and, you know, talk to the folks or the other great real estate professionals who have experience and try to, you know, get knowledge out of them. Again, I say the best thing about the Century 21 network is the people. People come out to our events just to hear from one another. Like, there's more power. You've said this, right? There's more power at the bar after the sessions than there is sessions themselves. And so, you know, be out there, be talkative, be inquisitive. You know, one of the things, I was just on the phone with one of the folks from our marketing team, and I was telling her about, you know, like, one of the things I love about her is that she's got energy and enthusiasm in no matter what situation or setting she's in. People are attracted to energy and enthusiasm. I don't care who you are, what setting you're in. People are going to be more surrounded by the people who are, you know, out there and smiling and, you know, portraying that, than they are the person who's, you know, kind of like negative and in the corner. And, you know, so I think it's those couple things. It's you know, be super inquisitive, making sure that you're energetic and enthusiastic. And I think the last thing Kevin rounds out and talks about what we discussed earlier in the program is, like, push yourself outside of your comfort zone a little bit. Get into an uncomfortable situation. You know, do something that, you know, you haven't done before or doesn't make you feel like, you know, I can handle this. Do something you feel like you can handle and try to learn from it. And so, you know, to me, it's one of those things where you follow the 121% rule. You do a couple of those things, and, you know, there's no limit to what you can do in your professional career or your personal life.
Outstanding. Well, any final words before we wrap it up for the day?
Now, look, Kev, I appreciate you. I appreciate your leadership and stewardship of this great brand. And, you know, I don't know when this will play out in the universe, but for everybody, happy holidays. And honestly, this is a great opportunity for you to kick off a brand new year with some big goals, push yourself outside of your comfort zone, and then just go get those activities and get it done.
Well, since you mentioned the holidays, what is your favorite holiday movie? What's your go-to
Oh
classic?
gosh, that's a good one. I'd be remiss if I didn't say The Christmas Story, right? Like, you know, my kids would say Elf. I've watched that probably 10 times in the last couple of weeks. But A Christmas Story is one of the classics, man. It's just so funny.
I love Home Alone. It's still, still one
Home
of my
Alone is a great
favorites.
one. So I don't know if you heard this, Kev. I just heard, you can probably Google it right now. I heard on the news yesterday as I was driving into the office that supposedly the University of Chicago did a study on what the value of that home was. So maybe you could Google that. I bet you'll be able to find it somewhere.
Yeah, I know they also I didn't hear the story, but we got out the car before it was over. They were talking about someone did another analysis of how much do the McAllisters really make to be able to
Yeah,
have
I
that
think that was
house.
it. Maybe that was it. Maybe
Yeah.
that was it. Yes.
Yeah, so it's like, all right, I got to check that out. Still my favorite. And he just got, Kevin's good name, so I kind of partial to that in the movie. But he just got his Macaulay Culkin got his star on the Walk of Fame like 2 weeks ago.
That's
So
awesome. Awesome.
yeah, that's pretty
Awesome.
cool. Well, Mike, thank you so much for joining us, and for everyone watching or listening, thank you for joining us for this conversation with Mike Miedler. If you're watching us on YouTube, be sure to hit subscribe, hit the like, and click the bell so you get notified when we have new episodes released. And on the podcast, please leave us a review if you like this podcast. It'll help us spread the word and get to more people out there and help them build their business. So, Mike, thank you so much. It has been an honor and a privilege to have you on our show and just to be a part of this brand. I mean that with all my heart. I love Century 21. We just re-upped for another 10 years a year ago. So I'm here for the long haul. You're stuck with me.
I love it, man. Let's do it together. I appreciate it, Kev. Thanks for the opportunity.
All right. Thank you, Mike. I appreciate it. Have a great day, everyone.